Hi everybody, and thanks for your interest in ProBuilder for Unreal Engine. This is a video going over how to obtain, install, and use what is the very first totally open and free beta for ProBuilder for the Unreal Engine. So again, this is totally free, available for anyone to use. We'll keep it that way until we get a little further along, and I think this will really be great for everyone to try it out and give us let us know how it's working for you and what you'd like to see added. So first of all, just open up the internet, and open up a browser for the internet and go to procore3d.com/probuilder-unreal. You can also just go to Procore 3D and then under Tools and Assets, click on ProBuilder for Unreal. Scroll through, read the information if you feel like it, watch some videos, and at the bottom there's a big link that says sign up for the ProBuilder Unreal Beta. Go ahead and click on that. And this will take you to our checkout page. Of course, it's totally free. We're just using the checkout option. Oops, I've got two in here because I've been redoing this video. But basically, you'll check it out. Purchase it for $0, etc. Doesn't require any information from you other than email address, name, or an account if you already have one here on our user toolbox. And this way, we're able to keep track of how many people are downloading it, send updates, send email updates, and also give you a really nice and easy way to always have the latest downloads once you've basically purchased it for free. You can just click on the user toolbox, log in, and you'll have access to the always latest download version. So once you have created an account or logged in and finished the process, you'll automatically get an email that will tell you to go to your user toolbox, and you can click on your download link and you will have the files. So let's go and open those up. So you get the ProBuilder binaries. We'll download as a zip file. Just extract it and then go into the root of that file, of that folder, and you'll see the ProBuilder Unreal project. So just double click on that and it should open up right away in Unreal. Okay, now let's create some shapes and edit their geometry using ProBuilder. First thing to make sure is that your selection type is set to object. We're editing and creating whole objects right now. And then under Tools, choose the Create Shape tool. Once you click on that, the Create Shape options will pop up, so you can click on the drop-down menu and choose which type of shape. And as you do that, for example, cube has width, height, and depth parameters, or you can choose stairs and you gain quite a few different parameters, and the same for sphere and any others. So these will change depending on the object type you are creating. Start with a cube since that's probably the simplest and most used. So the width, height, and depth, these will set the starting parameters for the object you're going to create. For example, if I wanted to set an exact height of 150 and depth of 75, and I'll keep the width at 100, then just double click in the scene and that exact object will appear and be ready for you to use and edit. You can also click in the scene and then drag without letting up the mouse, and you can set the width and depth, or width and length, and once you let go of the mouse, move up and down to set the height of the new object. Another thing is, once you have created the object and before you have clicked on anything else or made any other actions, you can still edit the any of the parameters for that object. So I can change the width here still, the height, the depth, or anything else that might apply to that object. Let's create a bit more interesting object, maybe the stairs type. Once again, I can click and drag to create it, so that'll set the width and length, and then move up and down to set the height. And again, after I have just created it, I can still change things, such as adding more steps to it, or changing the radius, angle, or any other setting. I'm still able to change those as long as I haven't edited anything else. You can also create shapes using the Draw Rectangle to instantly draw new shapes this way, which can then be extruded and edited into full 3D shapes, and also with the Draw Line tool. which as you can see gets a bit more complex, but we'll show how that works in some future parts of this or another tutorial. Okay, so let's look at editing objects you've created with ProBuilder in Unreal. So first, make sure your selection type is object, and then under tools go down to create shape, and let's create just a starter shape to work with. I'll create a cube just to keep it simple. I'm going to drag select, or drag to create just a nice simple cube here, and we can start editing it. So under the selection area in the tool panel, we can click between vertex, edge, and face. We'll start with face since that's probably the simplest to show here. So in face mode, once I've clicked on that, I can click on any face to select it. I can hold shift to select multiple faces, or I can drag select. And this will work just the same in edge and vertex mode also. Simply click on the edge to select it, hold shift to select another, or drag select to select multiple. You'll notice the select visible checkbox comes into play here. So if I drag select to pick up all these verts, if select visible only is on, it's not going to select this vert in the back here because it was not visible. So that can be a useful feature depending on how you are attempting to select an item or items using the drag select. So moving back to face mode, let's take a look. You can use the built-in gizmos with Unreal to move any face. And of course the same for the edges and vertices. Just click to select and then go ahead and edit it. You can also use the built-in rotate tool. So select any edge, face, or vertice. And well, of course that won't do anything there. Rotate it. Control Z to undo, and Control Y to redo. And the same for any face. You can rotate it and even scale it using the built-in Unreal gizmos. And let's undo that to keep a simpler box here to work with. So we're back pretty close to our default box, or all the way. And let's go ahead and look at the first major editing tool we have, and that's extrude. So if you click on any face, and then go into the move mode by clicking or hitting W on your keyboard. Hold shift and move that face, and it will automatically extrude. So this is a very quick way of adding new geometry to your object. As you can see, it's really quick and lets you add on detail without thinking about it too much. And then of course you can continue to edit that in any of the modes. Let's go back into face mode, and we'll just keep going through all of the face options, and then we'll move further to the edge and vertex. So looking at some of the other extrude options, other than just holding shift and dragging the face, you can also do a more complex extrude by clicking the actual extrude button. So if I click on that, first of all, you notice in the scene that it does the extrusion, but it's not set yet. This is something 3D Max users will be used to, I think. But basically, here under the extrude, you now have the parameter for the distance, which you can change. And also extrude by group and extrude parallel. So we'll take a look at those in a second. But notice that once you set the extrude amount, you can click OK, and now it is set. Otherwise, you can click cancel, and it will undo that extrude entirely. So if we have a few faces, or multiple to extrude at once, for example, if I select these two faces here, and we like to extrude them, I can do the good old hold shift method, and that will work just fine. Otherwise, if I'd rather do it a bit more precisely, I can click extrude, and then we have a few more options here. Number one is extrude by group. So if I uncheck that, of course they extrude independently, and as a group they're going to stick together like this. If I turn off parallel, what will happen is each of the new edges, these three new edges, top, bottom, and middle, will extrude the exact same amount. But of course the diagonal in the middle is going to look a little strange, so turning on parallel will actually force that middle or diagonal to match the you could say the top and the bottom edges. And then again, once you have it and you're going to keep that, click on OK. Otherwise, I can click on Cancel, and it completely undoes that extrude. One more item to look at here is the coordinates. So right now I'm in the default coordinate mode, which is global. So up here under where it says base below type, you can choose between global, local, and face. And you can see the gizmo or the handle here changing as I click on those. So global is of course just regular global coordinates. Local is going to be based on your object, so if it is rotated. And face will be the actual direction of the face. So with that selected, let's go ahead and rotate it to make it a bit more extreme. Now with the face selected, I can move it in its local coordinates, or sorry, the face direction, or I can go back into global or local if it was rotated. This will also affect your extrudes. So if I'm holding shift to extrude, let's continue to rotate this. And also if I'm extruding using the extrude tool here. So that's something to keep in mind, global, local, and face coordinates. Next we'll look at the inset function. So with any face or faces selected, select these three here. You can click on inset and it brings up the inset parameters. Once again, I can set the amount here. Currently it's based on a percentage. And then click on OK once I have a setting that I'm happy with. I will just shift extrude these quick to show better what was created there. And in the future we'll definitely be updating inset with a few more options. Number one, of course, to extrude or inset by group, kind of like extrude does, and inset by an exact amount instead of just percentage as well. Below inset we have the invert face, which will, just like it sounds, invert the normals of a face. So if I select this face here and click on invert, it looks like that face is deleted when actually it's been inverted. So if I kind of zoom into the model here, you can see it's just flipped the normal direction of that face, and I can flip it back to face outward again. This is most useful for if you have an entire object that you like to flip so that it becomes an interior space instead of being an object visible from the exterior. Below that then is the subdivide face. This is great for if you need to add a lot of extra detail to an area. For example, if I select a face down here, or maybe this one, and click on subdivide, it divides it into 4 new sections, pretty similar to a mesh smooth option that you might see in other 3D modeling packages. Just like so. You'll notice that if you're subdividing a face next to another subdivided face, the subdivisions get a little strange. That's something we're working on, but just be aware of it. And you can always, as we'll show later, merge up those vertices and clean that up a bit. Or even better, actually below subdivide is the merge faces tool. So here I can select multiple faces. For example, if I want to bring these all back together and click on merge faces. Now that's back to being one simple face. You can also flip the quad triangles and the triangle faces. This is a bit more obvious if I turn on, let's pick a new face for this one. How about this one here? So I'll change from perspective, or sorry, lit mode to the wireframe. And in the midst of all these wires, hopefully you can see, I'll try and zoom in here. The blue line in the middle is showing the triangle in this quad, because of course everything is all triangles, no such thing really as quads. And if I flip that, it's going to change the direction of that triangle. And that's it for the face options. Next we'll take a look at the edge options. So now let's take a look at the edge editing options. So under selection, click on edge and make sure tools are set to select and transform. So in edge, once again, you can click to select any edge, you can drag select, you can also click and hold shift to select multiple edges. With edges, you can select rings and loops. So with any edge selected, click on select ring, and it will select that full ring, and the same goes for loops. Click on an edge that has a loop, and click on Select Loop to select the full loop around. You can also merge edges that have been broken. For example, if I had selected this face and subdivided it, but I'd like to bring these all back together, I'll select each of these, merge the faces, but the edges are still basically broken. So I can select these two, merge edges, and now it is one single edge. And I can do the same with each of these others. Lastly, let's look at the vertex tools. So here we can move from selection type to vertex, and then just like in face mode, I can click on any individual vertex to select it. Hold shift and click on another to select multiple, or drag select. With multiple vertices selected, I can click on collapse to collapse them down into one single vert. And I can also connect them. So if I select a quad, let's try this one and over here. And then if I click on the connect vertices, it's going to throw a line through there and create a new edge. And that's basically all we have for the vertex controls at the moment, obviously adding a lot more to that as well. One last item to look at is the offset and absolute controls. So here, I'm going to make this panel over here a bit larger. If I have a face edge or vertices selected, let's grab this top face here, I can directly set the location and offset of it. If I am in global mode, by changing this number, I can exactly set the position of that, whether it's a face, edge, or vertex. So undo that to bring it back here, and undo is breaking. That's alright, just a quick demo here. Again, early release version, these problems are expected. More interestingly though, and this will give us a good chance to test it out. So if you have something that's on an angle, if you are in the face mode, now I can actually offset it. So I'll go to the Z and offset it 5 units. And I can do the same for the Y, though that will go in its own direction. So let's offset that 40 to make it more obvious. So just like that, you can quickly offset, or using the global values, set an exact position. And that's it for now. We hope everybody enjoys this totally open beta, or maybe it should really be called an alpha. Either way, definitely go ahead, download, check it out, let us know what you think. Really looking forward to the ability to just let everyone try it out and give us their thoughts. Alright, great. We'll see you in the next videos as we add more features, fix bugs, and all that fun stuff. Thanks for looking.